Welcome to my channel and YouTube Sergio Calle Perez, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. But if you do so, please share this message to your contacts. Also, don't forget to click at the top of the right side on the bell, and then you can open the notifications for the coming videos. Probably many people today, maybe you know, but as the crowd and the time of Jesus ask for that sign, they request to give you the sign in order they can see and believe. Because they're reminded that Moses gave the bread from heaven to eat. But Jesus replied to them, there was no Moses who gave this bread. It was my Father from heaven who gave the manna of the bread to eat. And also Jesus reminded us that everyone to eat this bread, the manna, always we go hungry. However, from the bread that is coming from Jesus, He is the bread of life. Who eat then never has hunger, but also he drinks His blood, never is going to have experience thirst. However, Jesus doesn't mean that we don't no longer anymore the food, our physical food. It's necessary because any time that you eat, couple hours after, or maybe less or more, you experience hunger and you experience be thirsty. Is a honey day. But Jesus Christ wants to remind us that this is the bread and the blood of eternal life. He is the Eucharist. As a matter of fact, He broke the bread and gave the body and blood to the apostles and asked them to do in memory of Him. Because the Eucharist, simply put, is God. The Eucharist is God the Son, fully present in our world. It is Jesus, the eternal Son of God, fully present. The Eucharist is His body, blood, soul, and divinity. If you don't know, I will try to explain a little deeply about that, but we need to open our eyes to the faith. Without faith, it's impossible to accept these things. And I will give you examples why it is necessary to open our eyes of faith. Because the Eucharist is much more than the signs and symbols. Of course, as you know, body and blood is a signs and symbols of the Holy Eucharist. It could be said that the bread is a symbol of His body, and the wine is a symbol of His blood, and the wine and the blood are symbols together. This is true, but it is also far from complete. We must follow up that the statement by saying that the bread and symbol of His body actually becomes His body, and the wine, a symbol of His blood, actually becomes His blood. He called this Transubstantiation. That is big word with a lot of meaning. Transubstantiation means that the substance is transformed. It is changed, but it also means that the external aspect of the bread and the wine remain the same. They don't change to our sight, taste, touch, or smell. They look the same, feel the same, and taste the same, but they are not the same in their essence. Try to imagine two primary parts of the piece of bread and a glass of wine. There are the external aspects and the essence. The external aspect and the bread and the wine are those perceptible by the sense, but the essence is not perceptible in any way. By analogy, it could be like closing your eyes and smelling a rose-scented perfume. Your nose tells you that a rose is before you, but in reality, it is a manufactured fragrance. Your nose is deceived as to the essence of what is before you. It is not actually rose, it is just chemicals. The exact opposite is true with the Eucharist. In fact, The Eucharist is even more deceiving in that all our senses detect only bread and wine. We can break the bread and hear the crack, taste it, etc. Our senses tell us this is bread, but in essence, it has been transformed into God in the person of Jesus the Son. In order to understand this properly, we need to a sort of sixth sense. We need the spiritual sense of faith. Faith is a gift by which we come to know, which certainly is no longer bread, rather it is God. It is the body, blood, soul, and God, divinity of God the Son. No amount of studying, reasoning, or arguing will convince us of this truth. We remind us today that there are many miracles about the Eucharist, but people still don't believe. That's the sign, that's a symbol, but don't believe. Why? Because they has not the gift of faith. Faith will convince us so deeply that we can come to believe with our whole being. And this is a conviction and level of believing that we can never arrive at using only our five senses or reasoning ability. If this is hard to believe, then it is a sign that God wants us to deepen your faith in the Eucharist. He wants you to meet His divine presence there in the depth of your soul. He wants you to know Him, love Him, adore Him, and surrender your life to Him and this precious gift. If you want to fully grasp the Mass and then you understand the full meaning of the Holy Eucharist, then you must understand this most precious gift from you, from His perspective. All three together make up the full meaning of the reality of the Eucharist. These three perspectives that we discuss later on are the following: sacrifice, sacrament, and communion. So in the coming videos, we're talking about this. Pray for me, I pray for you. May God bless you.